A few days ago, MotoGP announced that Michelin would no longer be the tyre supplier for the sport from 2027 onwards. Instead, that honour is going to go towards Pirelli. They have of course already been the tyre supplier of Moto2 and Moto3 from last year, and I want to talk about this because I think this could have a big effect on how MotoGP shapes up in the future. Of course, 2027 is the season that MotoGP is undergoing a big regulation change, and this is almost certain to shake up the grid as it is. And I think now that Pirelli Tyres are going to be in the mix, it is going to add another whole level of chaos into the grid once the regulations come in. Having a brand new tyre supplier is going to mess with some of the riders. Some may have to change their riding style in order to adapt to the new tyres. Some of the tracks people are good at, they might have to completely relearn the track as of course the tyres change. It will shake up the MotoGP grid. Add this on to the fact that everyone is going to be learning a completely new bike in 2027. This has real potential to be a really mental year in 2027 once everything changes. Pirelli have been the tyre supplier of Moto2 and Moto3 since last year, and we already saw last year that the change in tyre suppliers really muddled things up, especially in Moto2. Some of the riders took a while to get used to it. We saw people like Sergio Garcia, who were mid-table riders the previous year. He immediately shot up the table under the new tyres. Certain riders like Tony Arbolino, Alonso Lopez still haven't adapted to the new tyres, I'm convinced. I think last year showed that once the new tyres do eventually come to MotoGP, it will mess up the grid, at least initially. We'll have some elite riders who will take their time adapting to the new tyres, and we'll have some lesser riders who just click with the new tyres immediately and become frontrunners. Last year, the new tyres in Moto2 and Moto3 showed us that there is much more of a need for saving your tyres with the Pirelli tyres. In previous years in the lower classes, especially in Moto3, there was really no need to save tyres. Everyone was able to just go flat out for the entire race with no regard for saving your tyres. However, last year, saving tyres was a big part of Moto3, and even more in Moto2. Ayagura won the title with his main strength being able to save his tyres for the end. So I think with Pirelli tyres there is going to be a lot more emphasis on saving your tyres and good tyre management. So people like Jack Miller may struggle if he's even on the grid by then. However, some people like Enea Bastianini, who is amazing at saving his tyres, he could really excel under the Pirelli tyres if he's on a good bike of course. And overall I think this is going to be a good move for the sport because last year's Moto2 season especially was one of the best we've seen in years, and I do put that down mostly to the change in tyres. Because I don't think it's a coincidence that we saw a lot more close racing, a lot more last lap battles for victories or podiums than in previous years. I do think that the change in tyres had a big effect on that. And I do think that the new tyres in MotoGP will encourage more wheel-to-wheel racing. There'll be a lot more strategy involved, and I think there will be a lot more last lap battles. Because that was something we sort of missed a bit in MotoGP last year. As good as the championship was, there wasn't too many incredible battles in the last lap for positions. And last year in Moto2, we saw loads of races go to the wire. We always get it in Moto3, but in Moto2 especially last year, it was amazing. And I really hope that in 2027, once the new tyres come in, we see that effect where a lot more races go to the wire due to the different ways people save their tyres or not. Since this was announced, Michelin have spoken up and they revealed that MotoGP wanted the same tyre supply for all three classes of MotoGP, which I think is a good decision, and I think it will help rookies who are coming from Moto2 up to MotoGP. I think it will help them adapt a bit easier, they won't have to get used to new tyres again. And overall I do think it is a good thing that Michelin are moving on, because especially in the last year or so, and it's going to be in the future, they've really messed things up with the tyre pressure issue. We've even seen in the opening round of this season that tyre pressures are going to be a thing this season, and it's something that we don't like to see in MotoGP. We don't like having a cracking race with the looming threat of tyre pressures ruining it all once the race ends. We don't want to see race victories or title battles being decided by tyre pressure rules, and Michelin have really messed up by not being able to fix their problem. So I think hopefully as long as Pirelli are able to not have any tyre pressure issues, I think it is going to be an overall positive move for the sport. Hopefully there won't be any tyre pressure issues anymore. There won't be any risk of the tyres exploding halfway through the race or whatever the problem is. So overall I think it is a good move for the sport to move to Pirelli tyres. It's going to really shake up the grid in a very interesting way which I'm looking forwards to. All the riders will be on the same tyres in all the classes, and also there won't be any tyre pressure issues, hopefully. So yeah, I think it's a good move for the sport, but I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. What do you lot think of MotoGP moving to Pirelli Tyres from 2027? Are you looking forward to it, or do you think it's a horrendous move for MotoGP? Let me know. And while you're doing that, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye bye.